everyone, this is Peak Entertainment and we are back again, and here now we have another video for you, and in paying tribute to the late great Val Kilmer, I'll be taking a look back at some of his most lesser known movies. And in this video I'll be going over the spy thriller called The Saint. Released on April the 4th 1997, it has Val Kilmer in lead role, starring alongside Elisabeth Shue, and the movie was directed by Phillip Noyce. It was at the time a big budget loose adaptation of the 1960s television spy series of the same name, starring the famous Roger Moore. Now, the story of this version follows professional thief Simon Templar, who is a skilled specialist in disguise and playing various identities. After stealing a microchip in the earlier part of the story, he realises that he's close to retirement once his bank balance hits $50 million, which is quite nice for some. His last job involves stealing a cold fusion formula for the ruthless owner of a Russian oil company who wants to use it to dominate the energy market within Russia and oppose the current president. Templar intends to steal the formula from its creator, an American electrochemist named Emma Russell. Templar uncharacteristically develops a relationship with her, and while still taking the formula, he eventually is tracked down by Emma, who is fueled by her own feelings for him. Together, the two suddenly find themselves under constant pursuit from the Russian owner's men, who wants to overthrow the Russian president and put himself in charge. Now, when looking back at The Saints, despite some moments of potential, it never quite maximises the promise of the material, and despite being slickly produced by director Phillip Noyce, it sadly ends up being a bit uninspired and somewhat lacklustre. Now, I think the big issue here is just the overall choice of the story, which is a bit convoluted and almost aimless. As a character, Templar is just out here for himself. He's not a special agent out to combat evil, or is he robbing from the rich and giving overall to the poor? So he has no real compelling motivation or depth. The whole narrative of the Russian oligarch looking to overthrow the president just isn't that interesting, and through watching all of the various chase sequences, of which there aren't that many, you still wonder what exactly the cold fusion is or why it's so important. There's a real lack of urgency or escalation, no real time running against the clock story, and I did lose track of what exactly the heroes are trying to stop or overall prevent. The film itself also has uneven pacing. Now, initially it starts off quite well, where we get a little origin story in the beginning of the film, and when Templar steals the microchip, it seems that we're going to get something very exciting and engaging. But once he meets Emma and the story delves into the love story, it really slows down and doesn't really reinvigorate itself again to generate any momentum on a consistent basis. I just think the wrong plot was applied here, as Templar is a master thief. I think a much more heist chase story would have suited better, where Templar is always on the run whilst having to infiltrate different fortresses. This would have added a lot more tension and excitement and just a bit more energy to the movie. Overall, the serious spy espionage tone just makes it a bit dry and uninspired. Now, in terms of the performances, I think all of the actors are fine. Kilmer is okay in a lead role, but despite various makeup and disguises, there's just not that much charisma or depth to his overall character. Now, he has a decent dynamic with Elisabeth Shue, who performs quite well and is absolutely gorgeous and beautiful within this film, and this is at the time when she was probably one of the most beautiful actresses within Hollywood. None of the villains are of any real note or distinction, which again deflates the film once more. So we then go on to the box office release of The Saint, and it's somewhat underperformed, only grossing around $170 million from a $19 million budget. And when we look at the film overall, I see The Saint as kind of Val Kilmer's failed Mission Impossible movie. Now, when I say that, I do refer, of course, to Tom Cruise, and the comparison is very apropos, as both actors, of course, starred in the cultural hit 1986 film Top Gun, and both of them enjoyed critical and commercial success throughout the early 1990s. Whilst with Mission Impossible, which was released in 1996, that movie really catapulted Tom Cruise to megastar status, forging his action man persona and giving him one of the most successful action franchises within movies, cementing his cultural legacy. Now, sadly, The Saints didn't do the same for Val Kilmer, even though it was clearly designed that way, and it was perhaps another sign that Kilmer didn't quite reach the movie superstar heights that many felt that he should have done, despite his acting ability and also high quality performances that we saw throughout the decade within the likes of The Doors and Tombstone. And I just think overall The Saint just didn't have any standout moments or sequences to really excite audiences in the same way that Mission Impossible did. So whilst it's not a bad movie, I wouldn't say it's anything outstanding or truly noteworthy within the career of Val Kilmer himself. So there's my overall thoughts and feelings when looking back at the movie The Saint from 1997. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you have any other further movies, television series, or any other topics with the pop entertainment and culture scene that you'd like to see me cover within the channel, then also let me know within the comments, and I'll see if I can provide further commentary for you on that subject matter within the future. Please also hit like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you very, very soon.